Good morning and happy Friday to everybody today. Welcome to Edmonton's Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy. We are very excited this week to have LaWanda Bishop from Kipling School in Chicago Public Schools. So welcome, LaWanda.
Hello, hello.
So really thanks for joining us, Jason and I, today on Edmonton Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy. So we will get right into it. Your building is a K through 8 building in Chicago Public Schools. So just kind of, what is a fact? What's something that you've seen to be true during this time of remote learning?
I think for Kipling School, first of all, we're a very small school. So pre-K to 8, we have around 278 students. I think a very clear fact that we're learning here is that relationships matter, right? So we're a school with 96% attendance in the remote learning environment. And I think we've gotten that by making contact with parents and families. When we started the year, I shared with the teachers that, now in the remote learning environment, we're not just teaching the student, we're teaching the house. So we have to make connections with the parents. We have to make connections with grandma if she's the one who has the students on remote learning. And I think here at Kipling, we've done a good job with connecting with people who are caring for the students that we teach every day.
Relationships are critical, absolutely. Ms. Bishop, how about something that you thought was true that maybe you learned to be fiction?
Something that I thought was true. Oh, this was a good one. When we began to, at the end of the school year last year, I was looking for another EdTech tool that could support the students learning here at Kipling. We like to do what's called learning paths, and we try our best to tailor our students' learning experience to meet what their academic needs might be. So when I introduced this wacky idea of changing ed tech tools to my teachers in the spring, they were like, oh my God, how are we going to do that in the remote learning environment? So the fact is that we were really nervous about doing that, but it turned out to be the best thing. Our students, we slow walked it, right? So we didn't throw every piece of it at them at once as though we would have been in the remote learning, in the in-person environment. However, one day we introduced, this is what EdTech, this is what Edmentum is, this is what ExactPath would be. And so now we're finding that when we did our diagnostic, that 98% of our students were engaged in the remote learning environment in the diagnostic. So that was, really good. We only really had to set learning paths for like 10 kids in the entire building.
Change can be hard, right? But then, like you said, once you start taking those baby steps, right, you start seeing the positive impact, that can create some momentum for sure.
Yeah.
Ms. Bishop, last one. So a fuzzy, right? Maybe something that made you smile, maybe something that made you proud, or, right, or I should say, maybe something that's still sort of unclear, right? Something that's still sort of fuzzy out there.
Sure. One big one was that I'm able to go into my remote learning classrooms and visit students, right? And so one particular day, the teacher was doing small groups. On one screen, she had her group with her, and then she was also watching the groups in her breakout rooms. So one day we're in there, she's doing her small groups with her 5 kids, and one student pops back over and says, Miss Smith, I just got a trophy. Which is wonderful, right? They completed the task. They mastered that skill because they got a trophy, right? So that was very exciting, both for the student and the teacher, because one, they're learning, and this was a first grade student, right? So they're working independently. The teacher is able to trust this group of students to move along their learning paths. The kids, and we've only been doing ExactPath since the end of October. At this, we're at the end of November, and they've learned what it is to move along their learning paths independently. And we're able to use the the alerts page and what have you to check in on their progress. So I think the teachers really like it. It's really easy to use. I also think that the students they're getting that quick feedback. And when that trophy pops up, that's just something to be proud of.
Absolutely. And they know how to navigate between breakout rooms and back to the main room in Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Just something most adults don't know how to do.
Right. So true.
She is Miss LaWanda Bishop. She is the principal at Kipling School in Chicago Public Schools. Miss Bishop, we really want to thank you here for your time today on Edmentum, Illinois, Friday Fact, Fiction, and Fuzzy. If you haven't already, all the viewers out there, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Miss Bishop, thank you again for your time here today.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks.